Hello guys and welcome to another Smurf Mashup video. This is part 2 of Subscriber School with Naruto 650. If you've seen the previous video, we built a house on the right, you just see. And what we're going to do here is we're going to edit this house here. And I'm just looking at the fact that we need to change the windows, the roof is flat, so we need to make that a medieval style by adding a structure on there that's sloping instead of flat. What I'm doing here is I'm also adding a bit of detail on the front door, adding a little bit of an awning at the front there just to give it a bit more character. I think that's already made a difference. These windows are one solid great big line of window, and that's not particularly medieval, so we're changing that. And also I don't like the two side by side, I think it also looks a bit too modern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stagger them from to the left and right, and I'm going to make them smaller, only single windows instead. And as you can see, I'm just hacking away at the wall there to do that. Put the windowsill a bit lower, so that's coming down a block. I'm going to rebuild the wall next to it, just there. And find a bit of glass, put that in there, and voila, there you got another window. Now that looks a bit strange with the 2 there, so I'm going to convert that to a 1 as well. Get rid of this perimeter bit of roof that he's put on, because that's going to go up a level. I'm going to change that completely. And just rebuild the wall there. Put in the window in a second after we replaced the centre blocks here, because that needs to look like it's structural now, and it's a solid bit of the framework alongside what you see on the right and left. And there you go, I'm starting to put in the window. I'm going to build the same normal structure that I do for these roofs, so it's going to go 1, 1, 2, 1 at the top, but I'm going to do something slightly different at the front of this. I'm going to bring it out so that you've got a bit of an overhang on the roof, and the way you do that is the last 3 blocks at the top you step them outwards by 1 each time. So it's come out 1, 2, and then at the top I'm going to bring it out another 1 as well. The reason you do that is because, as you can already see, that's created like a 45-degree overhang on the left. If we do that both sides, it'll look quite cool. It'll add a bit more character to the build and make it look a little bit more of a fantasy style build instead of a fairly boring angled roof, which we see again and again and again. It also differentiates it slightly from the build we did on the right, and it's a character style of roof that I like doing. And as always, I'm edging it with cobblestone slabs and also stairs, just to add a bit more character to this. Breaks up the colour and clearly defines where the edges of the roof are. Now we've done that side, and I'm now onto the other side. The whole roof has been done. It's exactly mirrored, so what you saw on the left you do on the right hand side. Now I'm doing the top of the roof, and I've brought it out by 1 block with a half block slab, and now it gets a little bit more interesting. I'm going to start adding character to the midpoint of the roof. If you look at it side on, at the moment it's just a flat line, which is bad. You need to break up any flat lines that you see, so I'm just hacking a hole in. I'm knocking out 3 for now, but I think I can actually go further. I do another couple of blocks either side, bring it in 2 with the slabs, and then the last slab in the centre I do it dead level. And as you look, you get a bit of a V then, right in the centre, and that really does add a lot of character to the build. Now we're just dealing with these solid lines of glass, so just getting rid of all of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 rows of windows going down in this section here with 1 block between each. So what I'm going to do is just add an extra bit of frame. I'd originally thought about doing it like that, but I thought no, it actually looks better if I do there and there. And that way I've got 3 gaps to fill with windows, and all you do is you just use upside down stairs and hack into the layer below slightly, and you've got a double thickness window there, you see. On the other side, I'm going to do slightly differently. I'm going to do exactly the same build that you see here, but I'm going to bring the upside down stairs down 1 layer so that the windows are only a single block high. and it looks similar enough that it doesn't look wrong, but it looks different enough that it avoids obscene amounts of symmetry, and adds a little bit more character to it. Symmetry's alright, but you don't want it too much because it starts to look a little bit too, well, it doesn't look organic, it doesn't look rustic, and with a medieval build, it's the differences from side to side that make it look a little bit more older, like it hasn't been planned properly and they just got threw it up. And what I'm doing here is I'm just breaking up the flat roof there by just putting a little bit of a overhang in the centre, and the reason you do that is just so that you can see the windows a little bit more, and that side of roof doesn't look as flat, it adds more detail to it. And because we brought out the roof quite a bit, what I'm doing now is putting some supporting pillars which look as if they'll hold up the edges of this roof, and again this is a really nice touch that adds a bit more detail. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing on both sides. So as you can see, I've brought these windows down one extra layer, so they're just single blocks. All I've done is the stairs are one layer lower than on the other side. That's the only difference. There you go, because on the other side the stairs are flush with the edge of that roof. Now what we're doing now is just breaking up the flat line of glass you saw there by adding another structural line in the centre, and I'm going to add another overhang on the top there, because it adds character and it looks nice. I'm going to do that all the way around, just with half slabs, and yep, yeah, it does make a big difference, those little pieces of detail. I'm breaking up these windows again. I'm going to make it slightly different on this side. Instead of these being double windows, they're going to be singles, and I'm doing that for exactly the same reason I said on the other side. It's good to have symmetry, but it's also good to have subtle changes from side to side, which just add a bit more character to the build, and that's vital when you're dealing with medieval structures. We need to put another supporting structure on the right side here. Now you notice I put half a slab there. If I didn't do that, it would have been a straight line of 3 blocks which are just completely flat. So that extra half slab just breaks up that flatness of the roof and adds a bit more character to it. And on each bottom pillar I just do a solid block and then a block of cobblestone on top of that, a cobblestone wall. Right, so we've just got one more wall to do, which is just this rear section here. We're going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to try and build a balcony on this section. I'm going to put a window at the top. So just playing around a bit here at the moment, just sort of hacking out a hole, trying to get some ideas. But yeah, we're definitely going to do a balcony here. So let's just bring that down a little bit. So I've made a hole there, and what I'm going to do is using half slabs, I'm just going to bring out a little ledge, and we're going to build our balcony off of that. I'm going to use a trick I've used in some other videos where I use shutters just to create the balcony edge. Now I've tried various different ways of doing this, but the only real way of doing it is to create the blocks there, put the shutters on top, and then once you've done that, then knock away the blocks underneath. And in this update, the shutters will stay there. And that is a nice simple way of doing a balcony. It works really well. Now obviously we don't want to expose the elements, so we're going to just put in 2 doors. I'm going to put one left and right, and then I've tried various different things here, but the only way to do it is to just put a solid block in the back there just to break it up. And I like that. I think that works pretty well. I'm going to add a bit more detail because there's some flat areas to the left and right of that balcony, so I'm just going to break it up with cobblestone wall, maybe some slabs, and also some fence as well. I'm playing around with this. I'm not just completely sure what I'm doing. I'm just throwing blocks out, looking at it, seeing if it looks good or bad. If it doesn't, I change it. So for instance, I put in 2 half blocks here, but I make a mistake. I accidentally delete one and put a block in. I thought, well, actually that looks better, so I leave it and I change it, and I do the same on both sides. So it's those little happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say if he was a painter, and you use those mistakes, and if you do something inadvertently that looks better, keep it and then duplicate it all over. And as I've done on all of the other sections, I've just broken up those 2 windows. Quite happy with that. I'm not going to do anything other than just leave that as 2 windows there. Not going to do any window ledges on this one because I'm going to add a little bit more detail, and I think that there's enough detail on that balcony to sort of draw the eye. Adding a bit more cobblestone wall in there just to sort of break up the shape, and I'm going to try and duplicate the similar kind of style on the other side with cobblestone wall. I'm going to put fence all the way down here, which is slightly different from the other side as well. Bring up that little ridge a little bit so it meets up with that fence so it looks like it's a structural part of the build. And finally 2 cobblestone walls just at the bottom for extra detail. Hack out a hole, put window ledges in, and then put your glass in and your window ledge at the bottom. And I think that is almost done. There's a couple of minor changes, so I think I need a bit more colour differentiation just to drag the eye. Are we done? Looking around this, yeah, I think we are. Right, well, Naruto's the judge of this. What does he think? Well, one of his signs says awesome, so I think he's quite happy with that. Right, I'm happy too. So that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for joining me again on one of these subscriber school videos. If you want to star in one, then just message me and maybe you'll get your chance. Thank you very much for watching. Please comment and subscribe and obviously like. Thank you. Bye.